know that Luffy is so stupid that Oda had to make a special rule about him in the manga? How about a fact about Nami that is extremely perverted, even for Oda's standards, to be honest? Or what about the weird fact about Kaido that I guarantee you never thought of before? Today, we're going through the 50 weirdest One Piece facts, one for each One Piece character. And let me tell you, each fact gets weirder than the last, so you might want to stick till the end for that. Starting off with our main character. If you've read the One Piece manga, you may have noticed that Luffy almost never has any thought bubbles, even though he's the main character and the story is almost 1,200 chapters long. This was so interesting that a fan asked Oda about it in an SBS, and Oda explained that it's because Luffy basically just does or says whatever he wants, instead of thinking about it. Now, Luffy was just our first character today, and we have 49 more we're going to talk about in this video. And the weirdest of them all is the fact that you're watching this video without being subscribed to the channel. So yeah, make sure you fix that. And while you're at it, throw this video a like too, and let's keep moving. At number 2, we've got a Zoro weird fact that just sounds so wrong. Believe it or not, Oda's initial plan for Zoro was to have him be Buggy's bodyguard. In fact, an official concept drawing of him as a member of the Buggy Pirates was even released in Volume 3. But even like that, you know what the weirdest fact of all is? The fact you have yet to try Polybuzz AI for yourself. And why would you want to use this app, you may ask? Well, for starters, this app allows you to chat with your favorite anime characters about anything you want. You can literally find yourself in all kinds of situations and discussions with anime characters. Whether waifus, characters you look up to, or simply whether you just want to have some fun asking whatever questions you might want to an anime character of your choosing, Polybuzz AI does the trick. One of my favorite parts is the wide selection of anime characters they have, and with which you can chat for literally hours. Gojo, Zoro, Goku, or even your favorite waifus like Makima, Shinobu, and Nico Robin. Plus, even more than that, you can even build your very own AI characters, customize them the way you want, and start chatting with them about anything. Free, enjoyable, and the best part? As an anime fan, you will never get bored of it, as the selection of anime characters they have is honestly endless. Use code AKA67 to get access to 3 days premium membership completely free of charge. Use my link in the description down below to download Polybuzz Chat AI and start chatting with your favorite anime characters today. Believe me, you will not regret it. But now, let's get back to our video. And speaking of early concepts, let's talk about Sanji. Did you know his name was originally supposed to be Naruto? As it turns out, Oda wanted to name him that because his twirly eyebrows look exactly like a Naruto fish cake. However, since the Naruto manga started serialization around the same time, Oda decided to change it to Sanji. This actually worked out for the best, because if his name wasn't Sanji, we likely would have never gotten the Germa 66 storyline or all the funny San puns about Sanji. Alright, moving on from Sanji, we've got a Nami weird fact at number 4. And it's honestly hard to believe, but Oda confirmed it in the SBS of volume 114 that Nami is not actually wearing any underwear under her Elbaf outfit. Excuse me, what? I thought this was a shonen manga. Yeah, it's definitely a crazy detail. And what's even crazier is how this was confirmed by the mangaka himself. Next up is an Usopp fact for number 5. And the weird fact here is just how many of his lies have actually come true. You see, most fans know that Usopp's lies tend to become reality, but not many people know the exact count. So, let me give you the full rundown. First off, he shouted for years that pirates were coming to his village, and they eventually did. Then, there's how he told Kaya about a giant goldfish with poop so huge you could dock a ship on it. And guess what? We saw that exact goldfish at the end of Little Garden, and the Nanimonai Island turned out to be exactly what he described. His third lie was about a country of dwarves that eat giant goldfish. And later, in Dressrosa, we see the Tontatas actually hunting and eating the fighting fish. For his fourth lie, he talked about a giant mole being in a building, which became a reality in Alabasta when he fought Miss Merry Christmas, the user of the Momo fruit. He also lied about capturing a dragon and chasing a Cerberus, both of which became real on Punk Hazard and Thriller Bark, respectively. Finally, the 7th lie to come true goes all the way back to when Usopp joked that Luffy's first 30 million berry bounty was actually his. Fast forward to a few hundred chapters later, when Usopp finally got his own first bounty, it was exactly 30 million berries. I mean, at this point, we have to ask ourselves, is he really a liar if his lies tend to come true? Who knows which of his lies is going to come true next, right? Maybe the one about his Conqueror's hockey. At number 6, let's talk about Chopper. Since he ate the human fruit and gained so many human traits, you may think he'd be attracted to human women, but that's actually not the case. Oda clarified in the SBS of volume 47 that Chopper is still strictly into his own kind, which means the only ladies he finds attractive are reindeer or reindeer minks, like Milky from Zoe. Next, we've got a Robin fact. And while there are plenty of weird Robin facts out there, many of which are a bit too inappropriate for a YouTube YouTube video, the weirdest thing has to be her early concept designs. It's honestly hard to believe, but in Oda's original plan for the crew, the character in Robin's slot was actually a man. On top of that, he was a plant lover instead of a history lover like Robin. I guess Oda still liked that idea, which is why the only thing post-time skip Usopp has going for him are his plants. Moving on to Frankie. Did you know he's likely the biological son of Queen from Kaido's crew? The Viva cards revealed that Queen had a child 36 years ago and abandoned him 26 years ago, which fits Frankie's personal lore of being born and getting abandoned perfectly. So when a fan asked Oda about this in the SBS of volume 113, he didn't exactly say yes, but he got super anxious and joked about how the readers now know a secret that the characters themselves have no idea about. Next up is Brooke, and there's plenty weird about our favorite musician, like how his bounty poster is actually just a poster of his world tour. But what's even weirder is how Oda explained in the SBS of volume 85 that if the Straw Hats ever had a 50-meter dash, Brooke would win because of how light his body is. Well, he is just a skull and bones after all. Anyway, after Brooke, we obviously have to cover a Jinbei weird fact for number 10. I know a lot of you saw this coming, and yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. In the SBS of volume 113, a fan actually asked Oda about the color of Jinbei's, let's just call it his manhood, and Oda confirmed that everything down there is all blue. Yeah, don't let Sanji read that SBS. Also, since Jinbei is a whale shark fish man, it's not just blue. He apparently has 2 of them down there. Alright, so far we've gone through 10 weird facts, but let's keep watching because it only gets weirder from here. For example, did you know that in episode 461, when Ace meets Shanks, Shanks actually has both of his arms? Remember, this was many years after he lost his arm to save Luffy. And what's even funnier is that Ace had come specifically to thank Shanks for saving his brother. And yet, there's Shanks with the very arm he's supposed to have sacrificed to save Luffy. Speaking of Ace, here's a fact that's actually weirdly wholesome, and it's worth mentioning because a lot of One Piece fans may have missed it. You see, most fans know that Ace's tattoo spelled out ASCE with the S crossed out as a tribute to Sabo, right? Well, in the cover of chapter 596, Oda drew a what-if scenario where Ace, Luffy, and Sabo are all still together as adults. And in that specific artwork, since Sabo never died, Ace's tattoo simply says Ace without the crossed out S. Now, how about one for Sabo at number 13? You see, when Sabo visited Ace's grave, he actually left a newspaper there. It was the issue covering Luffy's return to Marineford, and he left it right at the grave along with 3 cups of sake. You can see this on the cover page of chapter 668, and also in episode 504. Looks like Sabo wanted to show Ace that their little brother Luffy is going to be just fine. Next up is Buggy at number 14, and what's weird here is just how many similarities he has to the legendary Roxy Chebet. Buggy's poster is basically a mirror image of Roxas. They both have their tongues out and are making the exact same pose while looking at the camera. It really makes you wonder if it's a coincidence or if Oda is hinting that Buggy might actually be Rox's illegitimate son. What do you think? There's a non-zero chance that Buggy and Blackbeard might actually be brothers. Moving on to number 15, we've got Sir Crocodile. The weird thing about him is his incredibly suspicious history with Ivankov. Back during Roger's execution, Crocodile was the only member of the middle generation whose face wasn't shown. When you combine that with the fact that Ivankov knows Crocodile's big secret, it leads to the big theory that he was originally a woman. Plus, remember when Luffy freed him from Impel Down? He was in prison rags, but almost immediately, he was back at his usual fit. It turns out he got those clothes from New Kama Land in level 5.5. This makes things even weirder. Like, why did Ivankov's secret base just happen to have Crocodile's exact outfit? At number 16, we have Garp. There are plenty of weird things about him, like the fact that his iconic dog hat is the exact same one worn by the Shandian chief. However, the fact that proves he's definitely Luffy's grandpa happened in episode 68. It's stated there that Garp once ate 842 donuts in one sitting without sleeping or taking a break or taking a dump, which is absolutely insane. If an average donut is 250 calories, Garp puts away over 210,000 calories at once. That's nearly 100 times what a normal person should eat in a day. After Garp, we have Whitebeard at number 17. One Piece fans always joke about how he's called Whitebeard, even though he only has a mustache. And a fan actually teased Oda about this in the SBS of volume 58. They asked if Whitebeard ever uses that boomerang under his nose. And well, in response to this, Oda dropped some serious lore about Whitebeard's mustache. He explained that Whitebeard once had a dog named Stefan, and when they played catch, Whitebeard would literally throw his mustache like a boomerang for the dog to bring back. At number 18, we have the Pirate King himself, Gold D. Roger. Roger. It turns out he could have also been a victim of Oda's weird facial hair choices. In the databook One Piece Green, Oda mentioned that Roger's iconic mustache was originally intended to be irrationally long nose hair. Seriously, what is it with Oda and these goofy facial hair secrets? Next up is Kaido, and even though he was the main antagonist of Wano, the longest arc in all of One Piece, did you know that he's the only emperor, past or present, whose flagship was never seen or named? Every other Yonko has a signature ship, but Kaido's was never seen. Well, maybe he didn't see the point in having one since he was always at Wano, and if he wanted to go anywhere, he could just fly there in his dragon form. Moving on, we've reached Big Mom, and there's a lot of weird facts about her, like how she accidentally ate Mother Carmel and all of her friends while they were having her birthday cake. But this is something that most One Piece fans already know about. What most fans miss is how her crew, the Big Mom Pirates, have been a thing since she was just 6 years old. Even though she later joined the Rocks Pirates, she also always had her own crew. And naturally, this makes her crew the longest lasting pirate crew outside of the Giant Warrior Pirates. Though obviously, the name of the crew wasn't Big Mom Pirates when she first started off. Also, Big Mom got her first bounty at just 6 years old, which means she's the youngest known person to get a bounty. Next, at number 21, let's talk about Blackbeard. He is Rox's son, the only remaining descendant of Davy D. Jones, and also one of the top 3 most important characters in the entire story. And yet, he technically holds the record for the lowest bounty in the history of the series. You see, in chapter 474, Kuma says that Marshall D. Teach's bounty is 0. And while you may think that's just because he wasn't a wanted man back then, his Fever card confirmed he was already a wanted man before becoming a warlord. That means his official bounty was literally 0 berries, a number so low that it's impossible for anyone to surpass Blackbeard's initial bounty record. Next is Sengoku at number 22, and I'm pretty sure every One Piece fan knows about Sengoku's pet goat. But the weirdly wholesome thing about this goat is how it appears every time Sengoku appears, at least in the main manga. Like when he ordered the attack on Ohara, and during the meeting after Crocodile's defeat, and then the meeting after Thriller Bark, and even during Marineford when he reveals that Ace's father is Roger, and also during the aftermath of the war. Naturally, when he visits Dressrosa, or when he is telling the Marines about rocks, that goat is there as well. The last time we saw Sengoku was when he and Suru were discussing the Cross Guild, and well, the goat was seen enjoying food. Now, in Sengoku's brief appearance during the Rocks flashback, the goat was not seen, but that was likely because the goat was not even born at that point in time. At number 23, there's Fleet Admiral Sakazuki, aka Akainu. And did you know that Oda explained in an interview back in 2012 that Akainu is so strong that if he was the main character, he could have ended One Piece within a year? Wait, for real? If Akainu was the main character, he would have ended it all in just 1 year? What do you think about this information? Moving on, we have Trafalgar Law next. And the weird fact about him is just how much he hates bread. He hates it so much that when he was traveling with the Straw Hats, Sanji actually took notice. And rather than trying to make some absolutely delicious bread that no man could hate, Sanji actually respected Law's hate enough that while he made everyone else sandwiches, he went out of his way to make Law some onigiri. For number 25, we move on to Doflamingo. And did you know he was originally supposed to be a major player in the Wano arc? In the SBS of Volume 98, Oda revealed that Doflamingo was planned to be one of Kaido's subordinates. And this actually makes perfect sense when you look at the theme of the Beast Pirates. They have King, Queen, and Jack, plus also the numbers. Even the Flying Six are based on card games. So Doflamingo fitting in as the Joker would have completed the deck properly. At number 26, we've got everyone's favorite Bartholomew Kuma. He's easily one of the nicest characters in all of One Piece, but there is a very random and weird fact about his original design. If you remember Shiki from Strong World, you definitely noticed the steering wheel stuck in his head. It's been there since his battle with Roger because the doctors couldn't remove it without killing it. We also saw a similar situation with Ja Rule in Elbaf, who still had a sword stuck in his helmet even though it had been 14 years since the big battle against Harold. Now, as it turns out, when Oda first came up with the idea of a character having a steering wheel in their skull, he actually designed it for Kuma. He eventually decided against it and saved that idea for Shiki later on. But just imagine Kuma, the nicest person in the story, walking around with a giant wheel in his head. From one warlord to another, we've got Boa Hancock at number 27. Even though she's a fan favorite, did you know that Oda admitted in an SBS of Volume 69 that she's actually the hardest character for him to draw? The reason is simple. Because she's canonically the most beautiful woman in the world, he ends up putting pressure pressure on himself to always make sure her design lives up to that title. Also, fun fact, Hancock is actually his daughter's favorite character. And to be honest, this is good news for Luffy-Hancock shippers. If Oda's daughter wills it, it'll happen. Next up is Gecko Moria for number 28. We've recently gotten plenty of new lore on him, like how he drifted to Wano as a child and was given the surname Kozuki by the people of Ringo, or how he only fought Kaido to protect the country that saved his life. But there's a much more random and weirder fact about him. Out of every single character in One Piece, Moria is the only person who's been the captain of 2 different pirate crews at the exact same time. He's the captain of both the Gecko Pirates and the Thriller Bark Pirates at the same time. Moving on to number 29, there's Edward Weevil. The weirdest fact about him is honestly just his entire existence. Is he Whitebeard's biological child? Is he a clone? How is he even going to be more relevant moving forward? There's so many questions, but what's specifically weird is that Weevil is the only warlord that Oda has never shown as a child. Actually, there is one more warlord that Oda hasn't shown as a child, but does he even matter? He never even debuted in the actual manga. We're talking about number 30, Hanafuda, the King of Lizards, and the biological father of Ulti and Page 1. He was first revealed in the SBS of Volume 109, and what's unique is that out of all the warlords we've never met, he's the only one confirmed to have biological children. At number 31, we have to talk about the most suspicious of the OG warlords, Dracule Mihawk. He's the world's strongest swordsman and the only man alive who personally forged a black blade. But the longer the story goes, the more suspicious he becomes. Think about it. Why does he have double-layered irises just like Emu? Is his name Dracule a reference to Dracula? And why was he living all alone in a gloomy gothic castle on a deserted island? He even ended up getting a goth girl to live with him. And more importantly, why did Zoro tell S-Hawk that the Seraphim feel more human than Mihawk himself? And all of this gets even weirder after chapter 1181, where Emu's sword attack, Nemesis, looks suspiciously similar to Mihawk's sword, Yoru. I'd say whether he's just inspired by vampires or has a secret connection to Emu's Nerona family, Mihawk's origin is definitely one of the biggest mysteries in the series. Now, at number 32, let's talk about the hormone-maxing king Ivankov. And I promise many of you could have never expected this weird fact. You see, in the SBS of Volume 60, Oda revealed that Ivankov actually rents out his hair to people for 5,000 yen a night. Basically, he lets people sleep inside of his hair. He can fit up to 3 people in there, or up to 30 if he uses face growth hormone. There's even a whole room inside his crown, which means you're getting a fair value for your money. But before you book, let me just add that Ivankov charges extra when he's traveling, because you get a premium view of the ocean. At number 33, we've got Monkey D. Dragon. The weirdest thing about him is how it's been over 1,000 chapters since we first saw him use his powers, yet we still don't know the name of his devil fruit. We're almost certain he caused the lightning bolt at Logtown and cleared the path during the Great Terminal Fire. But what exactly is his fruit? Now that the rain god Zaza has been revealed in chapter 1182, many fans believe that's the answer. Since he's the world's worst criminal and the celestial dragons fear Zaza, it would make a lot of thematic sense as well. But then again, nothing has been confirmed. So what do you think? Do you want Dragon to have the Zaza fruit, or maybe the Wind Logia, or perhaps something else entirely? After Dragon, we have Vegapunk at number 34. We all know his head got so big that he had to cut it off to create Punk Records. But have you ever wondered how he used to wash it before the surgery? At one point, his head made him as tall as a giant, so a normal shower was out of the question. Well, Oda answered this in the SBS of Volume 107, where he explained that Vegapunk used to dip his head in a pool of scrubfish. At number 35, we've got Rob Lucci. He's one of the most iconic villains in the series. But did you know that we almost never got him? As revealed in One Piece 22nd Log, Lucci wasn't originally going to be an undercover CP9 agent. He was just supposed to be a regular shipwright. Oda changed his mind midway through and turned him into the primary antagonist of the Enies Lobby saga, and he clearly liked them a lot because Oda gave him his own cover story and made him relevant in Reverie, Wano, and even made him one of the antagonists in Egghead. Now, just like Lucci, there's another character who wasn't supposed to be important. We're talking about Vivi. Oda didn't plan on making her the Princess of Alabasta at first. However, as revealed in the One Piece 21st Log, he realized that Miss Wednesday with her hair down would be perfect as a princess. So, because he had already decided on the Alabasta arc, he made Vivi its princess. And right now, Vivi is absolutely critical to the plot. At number 37, let's talk about Bonnie next, and how oddly enough, her devil fruit follows the exact same concept as Vegapunk's theory on the origin of fruits. If you remember, Vegapunk believes devil fruits are simply manifestations of humanity's potential for evolution. Basically, whatever people wish they could become. Well, look at Bonnie's fruit. She can literally become anyone or anything as long as she can imagine that specific future. This is how she was able to transform into a giant, a buccaneer like her father, and even Nika himself. Now, Captain Eustace Kid is who we've got at number 38. And well, even though his epithet is about as basic as it gets, I mean, it's literally just Captain plus his name, what's weird is that he actually shares this title with Captain John of the Rocks Pirates. And what's weirder is that Captain John was actually the previous user of Kid's magnet fruit. Speaking of devil fruits, have you ever wondered what would have happened to Killer if the smile fruit he was forced to eat wasn't a dud? We know there's only a 10% chance that a smile actually works. So what if he'd been lucky? In the SBS of Volume 101, Oda drew exactly what Killer would look like in that scenario, and it is horrifying. He would have become an elephant zoan, with his human head jutting out of the trunk and his limbs sticking out of random parts of the elephant's body. Honestly, he's lucky that the fruit didn't work. Okay, at number 40, we've got a weird fact about Enel. He's currently the only known character in the series to have not only met aliens, but also defeated them. In his cover story, Enel's Great Space Operations, we see him completely destroy the Space Pirates, a group of Looney Tunes-looking aliens, simply because their explosions were damaging his precious fairy Verth. Continuing on, how about a little personal lore for Fujitora at number 41? We know he blinded himself because he saw too much evil, but have you ever wondered how a guy like him actually became an admiral? Well, in the SBS of Volume 110, Oda revealed that Fujitora was actually labeled a war criminal after his kingdom was destroyed. He ended up on Soja Island and fell into a gambling addiction where he racked up so much debt that he had to work as their bodyguard to pay it off. But when the world government found out about him, they literally bought out the gambling house just to recruit him as an admiral. And in that same SBS of Volume 110, Oda also dropped Green Bull's backstory, which brings us to number 42. Apparently, he was a police officer who was thrown into prison over an incident involving a woman. The world government found out about him, pulled him out of his cell, and promoted him straight to admiral, which is a surprisingly different backstory than what you would have expected, right? I mean, considering how much he worships the celestial dragons and Sakazuki, you'd think he'd been wanting to serve them since birth. Speaking of admirals, we have to mention Kizaru at number 43. He's the only one of the original trio who is still an admiral, and the weirdest thing about him is the mystery of who fed Luffy in chapter 1103. It's hard to believe, but Oda basically confirmed this was Kizaru in the SBS of Volume 110. He explained in a roundabout way that whoever brought Luffy the food did it at the speed of light, which obviously means it was Kizaru. But Aokiji's weird fact is even crazier. Back in chapter 699, when Doflamingo asked him about where he stands, we see a silhouette reflected in Kuzan's eyes that looks exactly like Imu's. This is absolutely insane, because if Imu and the world government are his true targets, it explains perfectly why he joined the Blackbeard Pirates, whose goal is also the world itself. Keep in mind, Kuzan is also one of the 12 key players featured in the double spread in chapter 1121 as the most relevant characters for the endgame. What's even wilder is that this reflection appeared over 200 chapters before Imu was introduced in the manga. Speaking of Imu, is there a weird fact about him as well? Well, it all comes down to the number 16. Basically, the two syllables in Imu's name, I and Mu, can be read as a Japanese numeric pun for the number 16. And as it turns out, this number pops up many times. For example, when the ancient weapon used the Mother Flame to erase Luluzia, exactly 16 beams were fired from the sky. We also see this in Doflamingo's past. When his family was being lynched, a man claimed a celestial dragon shot his son 16 times. Also, Doflamingo ended up naming his ultimate attack 16 Holy Assassin's bullets. And more recently, let's look at Imu's hybrid transformation. We can see a ring of black flames behind his head that features exactly 16 eyes. And think back to when Luffy rang the Ox Bell at Marineford. He rang it 16 times. Of course, while it was interpreted as a declaration of war or the end of an era, we know it was a secret message to his crew. But the choice of 16 is still incredibly suspicious. At this point, Oda has used the number so many times that it simply can't be a coincidence. what do you think the number 16 actually represents for Emu? Now, after Emu, we have Emu's strongest soldier, King Harold. And there was a basic fact about him that seems weird when you think about it. Of course, there's also how he is the first non-celestial dragon to receive the covenant from Emu. But what we're talking about here is how he's actually the first non-human character in the story to be revealed to be a Conqueror's Haki user. That is crazy when you realize that Harold's Conqueror's Haki was confirmed in chapter 1155. So for the first 1154 chapters, there was not a single non-human Conqueror's Haki user in the story. Next is Rox D. Shebeck, the descendant of Davy D. Jones. And here, I want to point out something weird about what's actually a well-known fact about Rox. We all know that he killed an admiral, but what if I told you that he wasn't actually trying to kill him? Basically, he was on his way to Emu's quarters when an admiral stood in his way. So, he beat the admiral's ass. And yet, he beat him so badly that even though the admiral survived the actual battle, he died later from the injuries. See, in One Piece, when you get hit with a fatal attack, you either die on the spot like Ace, or you survive no matter how bad it looks, like Kinemon. But Rox's admiral is a weird third case. While Rox definitely beat him brutally, the admiral actually survived the fight. He only died later while doctors were trying to treat his injuries. That almost never happens in One Piece. Usually, if you make it to medical care, you're fine. But Rox hit him so hard that even the doctors of the One Piece world could not save him. That is insane! Next up at number 48, we have a Loki weird fact. Even though there's been a lot of dragon fruits since Wano, like Kaido's Azure Dragon or the many ancient Zoans, what's weird is that Loki's Nidhogg fruit is actually the only dragon fruit based on a creature that is actually considered a dragon in the real world. Of course, the Azure Dragon is a dragon too, but technically, that was a fish fruit. It's funny how even though Kaido told Momonosuke the world doesn't need two dragons, Kaido himself never even actually had a dragon fruit. Now, before we end today, we've got an honorable mention. It's a weird fact about Panda Man, who appears in the background of One Piece arcs all the time. But have you ever wondered how long he's been haunting the One Piece world? Well, he's been around for at least 400 years, considering how he appeared during Nolan's flashback in chapter 289. Now, since Luffy is the main character, how's about we do an extra weird fact for him? In the SBS of volume 35, when someone asked Oda if he ever considered a different fruit for Luffy, he admitted that he thought about giving him the Arrow no Mi at least 13 different times after the story already started. Now, for those of you who don't know, Arrow means, well, let's just say that if the fruit was real, it'd be the pervy fruit. And who knows, if this was actually what Luffy had eaten, he may have become the pervy sage. Well, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and click on this video next for more anime content. Go on, check it out.